I have photographs taken by Apollo 13 of alien ships 5 miles long, and I'm showing those over in San Jose.
Wonderful.
Now, those were taken by our own astronauts. Now, you get the guys on Apollo 13, and they're all, from what I understand, all 3 still alive. And you won't get a one of them to admit who snapped the shutter on that camera, but the film is there, and the negative number is there, the roll number is there, and there it is. NASA photograph of a 5-mile-long artificial spaceship. Now, and that's small.
Well, let's talk about the astronauts for a minute, because what's going on with Clark McClelland, and why is he having such a problem coming forward?
I didn't know Clark was having a problem.
He has a book that he's trying to write. He's penniless. He's had a terrible time. They don't want him to talk.
No, they probably don't.
Okay. And have you have you talked to the astronauts? What about Edgar Mitchell? Have you talked to Edgar Mitchell?
I talked before he died with Gordon Cooper. I was on the phone a few times with Cooper. He even sent me a photograph of himself. I admired him because he was one of the mavericks who had the courage to come out and say what he had seen. I've known Ed Mitchell for some years. Every time I get a chance to see him, I chat with him, and I consider him a delightful man. He's very warm and terribly bright.
Are they mind controlled?
To some degree.
Have their minds been wiped?
Cooper never was.
Okay.
They never got to Gordon. And I don't think they got to Neil Armstrong either. But all of the rest of them, to some level, have been kind of, well, what's the word I'm looking for here? They have been conditioned not to speak. And in some cases, they may have been hypnotically affected to not remember. Dark mission, Hoagland says, and the evidence is pretty clear, that they hypnotically debriefed, is what they call it. But supposedly they were hypnotized to help them enhance their memory and to recall. And apparently some of them had been hypnotically advised not to remember certain things. As much as I admire Ed Mitchell and respect him, tremendous, wonderful guy, he has admitted publicly in front of other people that his time on the moon, walking on the moon, was kind of vague. He can't recall everything. And of course, that's sad. I don't think they ever got to Neil Armstrong. Because when he got back, he left the program, said, to hell with it, I'm out of here. He went back to Cincinnati and started teaching math at the university there. And Armstrong hasn't said 5 words publicly since.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a case of Aldrin. Now, Aldrin has had experiences where he has been with friends, and the subject would come up, and Buzz would start to cry, or he would get nauseated. One time, and Hoagland touches upon this, I think, chapter 10 in the book, where Aldrin was in conversation with a few people and with his wife, having a few drinks, and just kind of relaxed. And somebody asked him a blunt, straight to the point question, and he had to run out and throw up. He got sick. Now this to me is a result, and I've studied it enough over the years to know that That sounds to me like hypnotic suggestion. He has been hypnotically conditioned not to remember or to not even discuss it. And if he gets nauseated, and in the one instance with a bunch of old friends, old flyboy types, he ended up starting to cry. Now this breaks my heart because Aldrin is a good man. He was one of our better men to be selected for that program. You know the story, and this is common knowledge. They got back from Apollo 11. They put Aldrin in a sanitarium for about 6 weeks. He was suffering from alcoholism. Do you believe that? Do you believe one of our best and bravest, one of the finest, who in the Apollo program suffered from alcoholism? Nonsense. You know, that apparently it was the programming to be reinforced. Now, why would a grown man with his background break down and cry like a baby, or end up getting nauseous and barf on the subject? That's hypnotic, post-hypnotic stress.
So what is it on the moon that is, that is so important that they want to completely whitewash it out?
Oh my God, these astronomical societies, the professional astronomers in this country have been guilty of criminal activity. You may quote me. They've been guilty of criminal activity for years to not discuss the reality of what they knew on the moon. There are major facilities and major activities going on the moon all the time. Not only that, the moon has water. Now, whether it's a natural process from the satellite, or whether it's water that's been stored there for use, there are vaporous signs of a form of an atmosphere in the bottom of some of the craters. Now, astronomers have seen these pictures, but that dishonest bunch of nitwits won't discuss it. They're scared because you know why? 90% of their income comes from government grants. And when you've got a government grant, and that's your prime source of income, you're going to say whatever the government says you should say, or don't say whatever the government doesn't want said. Well, anyhow, there's some atmosphere on the moon, at least in the base of several of the larger craters. There is water on the moon, but there is major activity going on. I mean, we're talking about engineering activity. There are giant ships that come and go out of the craters. There are lights all the time. They have noticed bridges appearing and then disappearing. I mean, they're active as hell on the moon. But the same activity is going on Mars. Sure. You've seen my photograph, I guess. It's not only my photograph. But there's a city the size of Chicago underground on Mars that's generating so much heat it shows up in infrared photographs.
Are you in touch with John Lear?
I've met John. I've been in his house a time or two. I visited him. I have a tremendous respect for him. The reason I like John is he's been nailed, as I have, as a damn fool maverick, you know?
So, I mean, this is his pet, project.
The establishment has tried to ridicule John Lear, and you can't ridicule John Lear because he's got sources similar to some of my own that are beyond question. He's getting people inside, feeding him information almost on a regular basis. I get mine in bits and pieces when I go to conferences and when I meet people, But John gets it direct.